I was sitting in Mason's café with my new wife Rebecca and her teenage daughter Emma, just 3 months into our marriage, when a man I'd never seen before placed a small blue velvet box on our table. "You'll need this tonight," he said. His voice was dry, calm, final. I blinked up at him. He looked ordinary. Gray beard, dark coat, tired eyes that didn't blink. Not homeless, not manic, just deeply sure of something. "Excuse me?" I asked, already half standing. Rebecca looked up from her coffee, brows pinched, but the man had already turned, disappearing into the crowded lunch crowd like smoke in the wind. "What was that?" Rebecca asked. Her voice was light, but her eyes were sharp, watching me closely. No idea," I lied, sliding the box into my coat pocket. "Probably some weird marketing thing. You know, like one of those street pranks or viral stunts." Rebecca smirked. "If that was a stunt, it needs better execution." Emma giggled and went back to texting under the table, but I was no longer present. My heart thudded in my throat. The man's words weren't loud, but they echoed. "You'll need this tonight." I don't know why I didn't tell her the truth. Maybe it was the man's tone. Maybe it was the way he looked right at me and not at her. Or maybe deep down I already knew something wasn't right. After lunch, I kept the box tucked in my coat like it was made of glass. It felt warm to the touch, too warm. But maybe that was just my nerves. Rebecca dropped me off at our apartment before heading to her weekly client dinner. I kissed her cheek like nothing was off, like I wasn't swallowing questions with every breath. Emma waved from the back seat. The apartment felt too quiet, too clean. I poured myself a drink, sat on the couch, and stared at the velvet box for a long time. It was beautiful, polished, not dusty or old, pristine, like it had just been taken out of someone's safe. I turned it over. No name, no note. For a moment I felt stupid. What was I doing? Letting a stranger shake up my entire day. But something about his voice, his certainty, not at me. My fingers hovered over the lid. Then I remembered his warning. "Don't open it until you're alone." I was alone now, but still, I waited. Something told me there was a specific time this was meant to be opened. Not just physically alone, mentally too. Focused, ready. And I wasn't ready yet. Instead, I poured another drink and walked through the apartment, taking it all in. The framed wedding photo by the fireplace. The pair of wine glasses still drying on the rack. The faint scent of Rebecca's perfume in the hallway. Everything looked perfect. Normal, ordinary. But isn't that what everyone says before their life explodes? Everything was fine. Until it wasn't. I set the box on my nightstand and stared at it while brushing my teeth. I thought about calling the police. But what would I say? "Hi, someone gave me a nice box and told me to open it later." Yeah, that wouldn't get me far. I slid into bed alone. Rebecca wouldn't be home until late. Emma was at a sleepover. I lay there in the dark, listening to every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind against the windows. Around midnight, I got up, heart pounding, throat dry. I sat on the edge of the bed and picked up the box. The man said tonight. Well, it was tonight, and I was alone, and I needed to know. I slowly lifted the lid. Inside, there was a silver flash drive, a small brass key, and a folded letter on thick, cream-colored paper. My hands trembled as I opened the letter. "My name is Gregory Foster. If you're reading this, I'm probably already dead, but if I'm not, then that means my wife has picked her next target. And you're it." My stomach dropped through the floor. Gregory Foster, Rebecca's dead ex-husband, the one who died in a car accident 5 years ago. I read the letter again, then again. My hands were ice. My pulse roared in my ears. I stumbled to the desk, plugged in the flash drive, and clicked open the folder. What I saw there made me sick. Pictures, reports, obituaries, names, and a message scrawled across one photo of Rebecca, holding hands with a man I didn't recognize. "You are not the first. You will not be the last. Unless you believe me." I didn't sleep. The folder on the flash drive was packed with horror. 5 names, 5 men, all dead, all married to Rebecca at one point, and each death officially ruled an accident. One fell off a hiking trail, one drowned on a solo fishing trip, one was found at the bottom of his own staircase with a broken neck. I remember my hands shaking as I clicked through the images. Her face was in every photo, always perfectly composed. Sometimes in a black dress at a funeral, sometimes holding a baby, sometimes smiling beside a casket. Always the grieving widow. One of the men, Harold Daniels, looked almost exactly like me. Same build, same age range, same hairline. I stared at his face and felt something twist in my stomach. The letter continued. I faked my death in 2018 after discovering what Rebecca was planning. She doesn't kill with her own hands, she orchestrates accidents. She poisons trust. Makes you think it was your fault. Until it's too late. I stayed hidden for Emma's sake. But now I know she's in danger too. And if she's calling you stepdad, then Rebecca said her timeline. It means you're almost out of time. The key opens a storage unit in Riverbend, 2 towns over. Unit 47. Inside is everything. Audio, video, hard evidence of what she's done. Don't confront her yet. Don't tip her off. She'll know. She always knows. If you want to live, and if you want Emma safe, contact me. At the bottom of the page, there was a burner phone number. I didn't hesitate. I dialed. It rang once, twice. Then a voice answered. Flat and direct. David? I froze. Gregory. I thought you'd call sooner, he said. You opened the box late. Why now? Why me? Because she picked you. And because I couldn't stay in the shadows anymore. Not after what I saw. What did you see? A new life insurance policy with your name on it. And an appointment she has tomorrow at the lake house you don't know about. It's staged for an accident. I don't know the method yet, but she doesn't improvise. She scripts every death. I clutched the phone tighter. What do I do? You listen to me. You don't confront her. You play dumb. Let her think you're still in love and unsuspecting. Then meet me tomorrow at noon, behind the Riverbend storage facility. We'll open Unit 47 together. It'll all make sense after that. My voice cracked. And Emma? She's innocent, Gregory said. Quieter. She doesn't know. She thinks her mother is perfect. That illusion will break hard, but it has to. I nodded even though he couldn't see me. I'll be there. I hung up and stared out the window. Street lights flickered on wet pavement. Somewhere, Rebecca was smiling at a dinner table, sipping wine, maybe even toasting to a future she never planned to give me. How much of my life had been real? I walked back to the bedroom and looked at the ring on my finger. I remembered how Rebecca slid it on my hand at the altar. Her vows, her tears, the way she'd whispered forever. And now I knew what forever meant to her. 6 months. Tops. I hid the flash drive under the floor vent and slipped the letter into a book spine. The velvet box went into the fireplace. I couldn't afford mistakes. When Rebecca got home at 1:12 a.m., she smelled like perfume and red wine. She kissed my cheek, warm and sweet as ever. You're still up, she said. Surprised. Couldn't sleep. I replied, calm. She climbed into bed beside me, curled up like everything was normal. I felt her hand on my chest, her breath against my shoulder. Did anything weird happen today? She asked suddenly. A spike of adrenaline shot through my body. I kept my tone light. Besides a ton of spreadsheets. Nope. She hummed softly and said, good? Just had a weird feeling tonight. I didn't move. I just let the silence stretch. But in my head, I was already planning. I'd meet Gregory. I'd find out the full story. And then I'd stop her whatever it took. Because now it wasn't just my life at risk. It was Emma's too. And I wasn't going to be another name in a folder. Gregory was already waiting when I pulled into the lot behind the Riverbend storage units. He looked older than his photos. Gaunt, pale, weary. The kind of thing that comes from sleeping with one eye open for too many years. He wore a baseball cap low over his eyes and held a duffel bag like it was filled with something dangerous. You came, he said. I nodded. Let's get this over with. He led me to Unit 47 and opened it with the brass key. The middle door groaned upward, revealing a small room packed with boxes, file crates, and a portable hard drive plugged into a dusty old laptop. This is everything, Gregory said. Proof of what she's done. Autopsy inconsistencies, life insurance policies, forged signatures. She's brilliant, but she's not perfect. I flipped through a stack of documents, each more damning than the last. Photos from private investigators, voice memos from Rebecca discussing financial cleanups, copies of old marriage certificates, and worst of all, a fake medical file she'd made for me. It claimed I had a hereditary heart condition. She's already started writing my cause of death. I whispered. Gregory put a hand on my shoulder. That's how she works. Makes them all look like fate. We sat down at the fold-out table and laid out the plan. You can't just expose her, Gregory said. She's too good at twisting reality. Cops won't believe it unless she says it herself. So how do I make her talk? He opened the duffel bag. Inside was a small lapel mic, barely visible. She's a narcissist, he said. Corner her with just enough truth to make her feel powerful. Then she'll monologue. They always do, especially if they think you're already dead and they're about to win. I hesitated. What about Emma? Gregory's jaw tightened. She's what kept me breathing all these years. But I couldn't protect her from the shadows. If she sees the truth, really sees it, she'll survive. That night, I went home and waited. Rebecca was already cooking when I walked in. Pork tenderloin, her go-to comfort trap. The house smelled like rosemary and honey, like it wanted to fool me into peace. Emma sat at the kitchen island, legs swinging, earbuds in. Dinner's almost ready, Rebecca said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I smiled back. Great. I'm starving. We sat down like a normal family, clinking forks, passing plates, casual questions about school and clients and the weekend forecast. Then she said it. I was thinking, maybe we should go up to the lake house tomorrow, she said, refilling my wine. Just the two of us. My throat clenched. I forced a grin. Spontaneous. I like it. Emma raised an eyebrow. You guys never go away last minute. Rebecca laughed. That's what makes it fun. After dinner, she suggested we go downstairs. I have something I want to show you, she purred. I felt the mic under my shirt and followed her carefully. In the basement, the air was colder. She led me toward the wine fridge, pretending to search for a bottle. Hey, I said, stepping back. You remember Gregory? She froze. The silence between us stretched like a knife. He's alive, I added, and I've seen everything. Her head turned slowly. Excuse me. You heard me. She straightened. Something changed in her face. The soft mask dropped. She wasn't pretending anymore. Well, she said, voice suddenly ice. I guess we're skipping the wine. I hit record on my phone in my pocket, even though the mic was already on. You were always smarter than the last one, she continued. Harold was boring. You made it interesting. My breath caught, but I kept still. Let her talk. I almost felt bad this time, she said. Emma liked you. I thought maybe we could stretch it out. But then you started asking questions. That's always the beginning of the end. Her eyes glittered like broken glass. You think you've caught me? She said, voice rising. You have no idea what I've survived. What I built. You were just a chapter. One more name on the ledger. A noise behind us made her flinch. Emma stood at the top of the stairs. She had heard everything. Mom? She said, voice cracking. Rebecca spun around, but I stepped between them. It's over, I said. She lunged. Emma screamed. I caught Rebecca's wrist mid-swing and shoved her back. The basement door burst open. 2 officers barreled in, Gregory behind them. The cops tackled Rebecca to the floor, handcuffed her as she screamed about betrayal and lies. Emma collapsed into Gregory's arms, sobbing, and I stood in the middle of it all, heart hammering, soaked in adrenaline and heartbreak. It's been 6 months. Rebecca was convicted on multiple charges, including attempted murder and conspiracy. Investigators traced her through 5 states, 3 aliases, and 1 long trail of accidental deaths. Emma lives with Gregory now. She writes me letters. Sometimes she draws pictures of the 3 of us standing in front of the café, smiling. I moved to states away, started over, got a dog, but every now and then, when I see a woman with long dark hair or smell rosemary, I freeze. Some ghosts were perfumed. And sometimes, the scariest monsters sit across from you smiling, asking how your day was.